Hi. Okay, so as most of you probably know, our nation is currently experiencing a major increase in support for marijuana legalization. For the first time in history, a majority of Americans, 52% as of this year, support legalizing marijuana. In response to this increasing support, 20 states have legalized the plant for medical purposes since 1996, and recently Colorado and Washington State have both legalized it for recreational purposes. Now, with this increasing support, the question is often raised, why was marijuana made illegal in the first place? Certainly, there are legitimate reasons for its criminalization, including the danger of driving under the influence of marijuana and the increased risk of lung cancer associated with long-term exposure to marijuana smoke. However, currently available legal products such as alcohol and tobacco pose these same risks. So in order to truly understand why marijuana was made illegal in the first place, we have to look to the early 1900s. In 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act, which effectively criminalized the plant in our nation, was passed in response to overwhelming public opposition to and fear of marijuana in our nation. Now, where did this fear come from? The answer is these two men, Henry Anslinger and William Randolph Hearst. Anslinger was the first commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, and Hearst was founder and owner of Hearst Corporations, a publication company with newspapers in dozens of cities across the United States. Together, these two men headed a fierce anti-marijuana campaign in the early 20th century, which portrayed the plant as an insanity-inducing, violence-causing narcotic and instilled mass fear in the American public. One article published in a Hearst Corporation newspaper claimed that 3/4 of the crimes in our nation today, crimes of violence in this nation today, are committed by dope slaves. That is a matter of cold record. This was not, as you might imagine, a matter of cold record, but rather this claim was an example of what came to be known as yellow journalism. Yellow journalism is a term coined by Irwin Wardman in 1900 and refers to sensational, attention-grabbing news stories with little to no factual basis. While yellow journalism undoubtedly sells, it also poses a severe threat to our society, a threat which I will illustrate using two relatively modern examples of media dishonesty and its impact. Oh crap, I missed a picture. Okay, so the first example is, this is supposed to be a picture of a guy named John Morse. John Morse is a Colorado politician who, in September 2013, was impeached after he voted in favor of gun control legislation. The media depicted Morse as an avid gun control activist who sought to revoke Colorado citizens' Second Amendment rights. When the Denver Post polled Colorado citizens on the individual components of the legislation which Morse voted in favor of, however, an overwhelming majority voted in support of each measure. So Morse's political career was ended as a result of the media's portrayal of his position on gun control, not his actual position on gun control. Another example is the Iraq War, which began in 2003. The Bush administration and the media justified this war with the claim that Iraq had manufactured and used weapons of mass destruction in the 90s and early 2000s. Due heavily to this claim, a majority of Americans supported the war at its initiation in 2003. As it became readily apparent that Iraq did not in fact possess weapons of mass destruction, support for the war dropped dramatically, reaching just 30% within 2 years. Now, whether the Bush administration knew or not that Iraq did not actually have weapons of mass destruction is a matter of debate. However, if this information had been portrayed by the media as even relatively uncertain, perhaps the support would have been not as high, and we could have avoided the countless American and Iraqi lives lost and billions of American dollars cost by this war. Now, whether we like to believe it or not, as illustrated by these two examples, media undoubtedly influences public opinion. Public opinion is also essentially the foundation of the American democracy, as politicians run on platforms designed to appeal to their constituency, that is, to satisfy the public opinion. If this public opinion is formed based on false information that we are continually fed by the media, then our national decisions are made based on the media's portrayal of reality, not on actual reality. So in order to ensure that this is not the case, I encourage each one of you today to do your research on the issues which are of utmost importance to our nation. Do not accept everything that your favorite news outlet says as truth simply because it agrees with your existing views, but rather invest the time to understand the true nature of these issues in order to ensure that the people run America, not the media. Thank you.